Naruto chapter 693 came out a while ago. And this chapter really affirmed why people hate Sakura as a character, because she did something that was really, really hateful in this chapter. And it's probably what I'm going to talk about the most, because for the longest time, I've tried to think, is there any mangaka that can really, 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 really write good female characters? Because for the longest time, they've always been either damsels in distress, or even if they are the main character, they have such a tragic, flawed, rapey sort of past that's just like, ooh, I can see why this shit was harder for you. Just like Revi. Revi has a really, really fucked up past, and she's a sadistic, serial killer, murderer type of motherfucker, so does that make her a great character? For the premise of Black Lagoon, fuck yeah. But for the premise of manga as a whole, with that being, I think that's a shonen, right? No, it might be a seinen. Probably a seinen. I hope it is. But with that one being a seinen, is she a great character? In comparison to everybody else, yeah. But as far as female standards go, is she the best character? Probably not. In Naruto, there are a lot of female characters in there. A lot of which that we know by name, actually. That's what I'm saying. Like, of course it's not as many as male characters, but there are a lot of female characters that we know by name. And that says something. Are any of them worth it, for the most part? And my answer to that is yes, except for, in my opinion, two. Which is Sakura and Tsunade. We're not going to talk about Tsunade right now. I can go through a whole list as to why she isn't relevant to that story. And say what you want to say about Ino. That Ino Shikacho formation is the shit. I don't give a fuck what y'all say. I don't give a fuck what you think about her, whether she's a slutty character or not. The Ino Shikacho formation is a formidable formation, and if she had more screen time, she would be an awesome character. Even Tintin. Tintin's ability to use weapons is awesome, but let me stop going off track and let me get back to Sakura. In this chapter, Sakura Haruno, Sakura makes a plea to Sasuke, because she says in this chapter, and I don't want to get this wrong, so let me pull that shit up real quick so as to quote this shit, because when I read it, I turned away from it and sighed heavily. I sighed heavily. I was like, oh my fucking Lord. Just when I was thinking that, she's coming around, especially because she's like, I don't want to be left behind, and I want to be on the same level as these guys, and I don't want to do anything that's going to be a burden on them. And then she says what she says in this chapter, and now I'm just like, oh Jesus. Here it is right here. Because I see the stupid look on her fucking face. Okay, right here we have Sakura saying, I know there's nothing much I can do to stop this, but I still loved you. I never thought you'd turn out this way. I couldn't be there for you when you needed help, or even stop you from going down that path. All I could do was sit here and cry. It's disgraceful, really. Naruto looks on. But, Sasuke-kun, if I still have a place in that heart of yours, even if it's just a little, please don't go. If we're together again, I'm sure we'd be able to go back to those days. Do I continue reading on? Probably not. I don't even care what he said. Alright? What? She said that shit. That was something that Kishimoto wrote for this character specifically to say. And she is technically the female protagonist, the lead female protagonist. Everyone else is secondary female. All the other females are secondary in comparison to Sakura. She is the female protagonist, the main female protagonist of this series. And her fucking dialogue reflects that not only is she playing a damsel in distress sort of role by having to constantly be saved by these characters, right? She has to constantly be saved by these characters, the male characters, her male counterparts, which is like, whatever. But that dialogue just then, that dialogue just then shows that she is useless. I know all this supposed to be a throwback to the first part of the series, but fuck all that, alright? She says pretty much the exact same thing that she said in the first time he left. The first time he left, I was like, okay, I get that shit. Because they were all spending time together as a team. They were all getting to know each other. They were starting to have fun. Sasuke was even starting to look at them as a team. I got that. I understood that shit. You know, saying shit to him like that when y'all were kids, I get that shit. But right now, as much shit as he's done, do you really think that you, Sakura, are going to be the one to make him stop whatever the fuck is on his mind? And then he himself says, I don't even know why the fuck she loved me. I never show any interest in her. And he hasn't. He has not. And I know that love is not some shit that can just go away. My parents been divorced for 6 years. I know love is not something that can just go away. I'm pretty sure my parents still have some form of love for one another. But my thing is, if my mom ever said any shit like that to my dad, after all the shit that my dad has done, my mom would be considered a weak woman. And I would have to agree with that. When I read that dialogue from Sakura, I was so fucking upset because I read a comment on one of Sawyer's videos and it was funny as shit. Somebody said, hold up. Sakura just punched the god of the Naruto world in the head. That bitch is a boss. I thought it was funny. I'm like, you know what she did? She just sucker punched fucking Kaguya right in the fucking, like right in the top of the head. She just fucking just bam, just wailed on her. I'm like, okay. She gave no fucks, no qualms about punching the god of this world. No fucks given. Showed a level of strength. Right? Even when Team 7 was reunited, she showed a level of strength by summoning her own, well not her own slug, but summoning the slug and shit. But then, in that same episode, this is why I hate that she said that shit. Around that same time, Sai is asking everyone. He asked Jugo. He was like, hey, what is Sasuke's true intention? What the fuck is going on? What's going on? What is his true intention? And then he asked Sakura, like, how do you feel about this shit? Like, what's going through your mind right now? And they're like, hey, Sasuke is back, and that's all that matters. Team 7 reunited. And she smiles. And Sai's just like, your words, you may be saying them trying to convince me, but your smile is letting me know that everything that you said is a lie, and you know it too. So she even knew then that whatever the fuck was going through Sasuke's mind was sketchy. Like, it was mad sketchy. She knew that shit then. I don't even remember what the fuck chapter that was, but she knew that shit then. That was probably like fucking like 100 chapters ago. She knew that shit then. And to hear this shit now, when it's winding down to the fucking, I'm not even saying that if she had just, when they left, if she had just shed a tear, I would have been fine with that. I would have been fine with that. Because if she had shed a tear, it would have been somewhere ambiguous. Is she crying because of what's about to go down, or is she crying because of how far this dude has fallen? If that had happened, fine. But when I read that dialogue, I was like, oh my god, Kishimoto, why didn't you make Hinata the main female character of this series? Because she's arguably the best one out of all the females you made, especially in comparison to Sakura. I know I've ranted, you know what, I've ranted long enough. Please, I know I'm going to get thumbs down this video, and I don't even give a fuck. That's why I uploaded it this way, because I knew I was going to get some flack. But the new chapter comes out probably in like 2 days, so y'all can just wait for that one to come out. Maybe I had something positive to say about it then, but let me know what you thought about this shit though, man. Vash, the Stampede, gone.